Hello, everyone. My name is Mike Jones. I'm the Director of Education with the Oracle Applications and Technologies Users Group. I'm very excited to welcome everyone to this webinar titled UAT Mastery, How to Harness AI and Test Automation. As a reminder, we'd like to encourage everyone to attend the Ascend conference next June 8th through the 11th in Orlando, Florida. We'll have a strong AI focus with EBS Fusion apps in every track at Ascend. If you want to maximize your Oracle investment with AI, we recommend you attend. A quick reminder for today's webinar, you will be on mute throughout the session. However, you're welcome to send questions at any time through the question panel of the GoToWebinar. We'll handle questions at the end of the webinar and we'll cut and paste those into the chat. We're recording this session. The recording, as well as the slide deck, will be available to OE2UG members in the knowledge base within 24 hours. And finally, I'd like to turn it over to our presenter for today. His name's Nand, and he's with Opkey. Take it away, Nand.
Thank you, Mike. Hello, and thank you all for joining today. So, as you know, I will talk about how to make use of artificial intelligence or AI in your user acceptance testing and test automation projects. At Opkey, I take care of all the customer and partner enablement, the content, and the learning piece. And let's right away dig in to the agenda of today. So I will briefly talk about why is UAT so important and what are the common practices and challenges that users face within their UATs. So we have been working with multiple teams across industries, and we see challenges are more or less the same. And we'll cover how most of it can be solved with AI solutions and best practices. And we'll showcase solutions that Opkey offers by looking at few demos of the AI-enabled test automation and management platform, followed by the question and answer, as Mike suggested. So let's look at why UAT is so significant and the challenges with the traditional approach. So as we know, UAT is your final pre-release phase for a business lifecycle. This stage decides whether the objective of the application are met or not. So decision makers who are the key business users, they participate in at deciding whether the proposed changes are ready for production or not. So their approval becomes essential because they confirm whether throughout the series whether you started off with initial planning and the application has reached that stage where both the business and its customers would accomplish the intended objectives, whether uh, we agreed on to during your SITs and during your initial discussions. So these users, who are the business users, possess a deep understanding of the business process or the functionality side, crucially the diverse need of customers. And while their participation is beneficial, it also adds a layer of complexity that we will discuss in a while along with other UAT challenges. And before I talk more of these challenges to set the context for all, let's have a brief look at the standard UAT process mostly followed today. So we see design phase, planning, scoping, execution of test cases, review, confirmation, and sign off in different phases. So just to an overview of these stages would be like in design phase, we figure out what business process or functional areas are to be included in our UAT. We decide what to test, what not to do, and also assigning different steps to various users and setting a timeline. During scoping, we identify critical business processes to include, excluding unnecessary tests, identifying which business processes, functionalities, or features will be tested, and which one will be excluded from the testing scope overall. So this is basically deciding whether the testing will be comprehensive or more targeted. Then we move into the execution stage, which involves documentation, obtaining sign-off for release. So that's a high-level overview of what typically happens in a UAT cycle. Now on to test planning, which comes into play once we've decided what to test. Here we finalize the process, data sets, testing environment, teams involved, and the availability of business users if they're part of the testing. So here we try and make sure that the areas or processes being tested are aligned with the priority in this UAT phase and meet the business objectives. For example, say a UAT cycle might be crucial for an SIT but it might not be as critical for a change cycle. Perhaps only a subset of it might be needed to be added to the test environment. So confirming this plan is crucial to be sure of what we are set out to do. So that's an overview of what doing UAT involves today and the various aspects it encompasses. Let's look at the common challenges that users face in these different stages. So the most common challenge that we hear about is around scoping. And we get questions like how much to test or what areas to cover and what we're testing today is sufficient or not. Because there's no thumb rule as to how you go ahead and identify it in today's date. So test coverage becomes a basic one. We see unclear or ambiguous requirements, I would say, frequent changes in the requirement, and a lot of external dependencies on third-party integrations as other associated challenges with scoping. Also, all the planning usually happens on spreadsheets manually. That lacks tracking and a single source of truth that can define what is currently at test, what should be further included in the testing. So basically what we see that the flaw lies in the overall approach where we design and plan on a tool or a spreadsheet, try and manage cases on another, and at times execute on a third platform. So multiple applications, multiple license costs, dependency on multiple tools for execution or test management tools makes it overcomplicated and at times bottleneck most of the times. So once we are past scoping, and we somehow manage these challenges with our best efforts, comes another important factor of test data. Now we have analyzed and determined what's in scope or out of scope. We need a comprehensive test plan. The plan that can outline who's responsible for what, which processes will test, the timing of these tests, the data set you will use. Let's say you have 50 odd business processes. Now getting test data for this becomes a challenge. Say for a module like human capital, HCM in Oracle, where you require multiple users to be created. Hence, you need more data sets to test it thoroughly. Getting required data set for your test case is exhausting task and another major challenge that we see. Also, involving business users poses a challenge because they must be aligned with UAT tasks and goals amid their other responsibilities. Now, with the planning phase completed, we move to executing UAT. We have a plan in place, including the prioritized business processes for the UAT cycle. Sometimes we come across a challenge regarding limited visibility into executed test. The standard for pass or fail differ when teams are geographically across different locations and time zones and leading to less efficient documentation of these tests. So test cases executed twice and most often many more times. The more you test your product, the better. However, at the same time, you shouldn't allow unnecessary duplication of test efforts. And managing defects is another challenge where effective collaboration and documentation plays a crucial role in UAT. It's essential to have a platform that facilitates team collaboration. You get a structured approach to documentation. Your defect management is another critical aspect that needs attention within your test management tool, given the finite resources available for fixing defects. It becomes imperative to prioritize defects that are important or urgent for resolution, I would say, and having a robust repository is essential because it becomes challenging to rank each defect in isolation without the ability to see the link between a test case or a requirement and all the related defects. So it's important to remember that poor defect management doesn't just impact your team, it affects developers the most as they're the ones ultimately responsible for fixing those defects, the functional users. And if testers can't prioritize defects effectively, they may end up working on lower priorities issues. Additionally, the efficient defect management is crucial to link and track related or duplicate defects. So this practice helps eliminate duplicates when an original defect is fixed. That saves valuable time and effort in the process. Another one is managing your documentation. Can't stress more on this one as moving to production, our main focus is validation and documentation because that plays a key role in ensuring our expectations align with our plans. Say for instance, during UAT, we may narrow down our attention to critical fields that need specific validation for UAT success. It's crucial to clearly document these validations, whether in manual test case or automated scripts. So documentation also covers testing environment details, timestamps for auditing, your step-by-step procedures, visual snapshots, and all the debugging information for the test case passage. Most of this documentation is often not done properly, or we rely on external test management systems. Again, that's how it becomes another challenge to have a comprehensive documentation in place. There are other challenges, like we encounter many of these, which might seem trivial, but however, they are significant when aiming to scale up or accelerate processes, especially when managing a substantial ERP project. Like your manual task, when it comes to UAT, a big chunk, uh, around 90%, I would say, of teams, they're handling it manually, often resorting to spreadsheets. So this involves a considerable amount of manual efforts, especially in coordinating with business users to validate the software application according to business process. Creating manual test case on spreadsheet, again, is a challenge in tracking and collaborating effectively, as I said earlier as well. These duplicate defects we see, the same test cases are created multiple times. As I said, scripting a test case is time intensive task, and it doesn't help when your team scripts the same test case over and over again. The same defects are raised again with multiple IDs, so we need to be careful about that as well. So what do we effectively do to tackle these challenges? There are some suggested approach and best practices. Let's have a look at that. Use of AI can definitely save from one of the major challenges of scoping or test coverage uncertainties. Like the use of AI features such as mining help you to see what test cases lie currently in the system, or what in your testing environment, what team is testing currently, and the areas that are being covered and areas which are yet to be covered. So this gives control back to users as they get full visibility into your current test coverage, and you can align your bandwidth to areas that are crucial and should be tested. Not only that, AI helps create test cases to achieve higher coverage, you ensure that your application is builds are reliable as well. Now, the test data generation challenge is also solved with the help of generative AI, as there you have a perfect solution to all the test data that you need for the test coverage. Test creation and test data management both would save a lot of words and ensure you high quality and assurance. So Gen AI can be used for test case creation for as is process, like out of the box processes that are there, but also for the custom scenarios or configurations on your application. And it can be coupled with the mine data, saving all the efforts and a lot of time. Also, a unified platform for end-to-end release management works well, as you can go ahead and collaboratively track all the releases with the requirements, defects, manual and automated test cases at one single place. So it saves again time and to learn different applications, money spent on different licenses that's saved, and offering you a holistic visibility for all artifacts, enabling business to have control over the release timelines and the go-to-market strategy. So it gives a single source of truth for your overall business application lifecycle. Now, another one is the test repositories. These are really helpful. Even if you have 80% workflows or scenarios that are automated, test case with 20% manual cases is a better stage to be in. Similarly, effective test documentation, that's the backbone of a well-structured quality assurance process. Creating records that are not only traceable but also easily accessible and practical for your team. For a few things that you should be included or should be there in the documentation could be acceptance criteria, clearly defined expectations for your test, business impact level, whether high, medium, low. These could be some categories around that, and also info on the data that is executed, like tracking when each test was performed, the expected outcome, result, whether it was passed or failed, a unique identifier, and a clear label for each test case. So these are detailed steps for executing each test case and their snapshot for each test step. So consistently documenting these elements ensures that your testing process is robust and also transparent and easy to manage. Now, with those challenges and the best practices that we see or we suggest, let's see how Opkey can go ahead and help the various AI enabled features to overcome these challenges. So Opkey features test mining capabilities goes ahead and helps you mine your current environment with the transactions, the setups, and the configurations. Hence, test coverage is not a problem anymore with Opkey. It gives you a detailed blueprint of what is being tested today, what other configurations exist on the environment, and suggested scenarios that should be tested compared to the industry standard of any given ERP. So that ensures you have a quality assurance you can rely on. Opkey offers end-to-end test management platforms, so that eliminates the needs of having multiple applications, and you have a single source of truth. You don't have to, you can plan on one single application, your design releases without switching to multiple platforms. You have releases, milestones, requirements, all that can be tied together, specifically designed for ERPs at one single place, allowing report creation and a lot more. So this tool is crafted for Oracle and similar applications, specific release management. So it offers you end-to-end implementation platform for testing and development. This feature brings all your testing under one roof and gives, as I said, single source of truth for all your release readiness. Now, another interesting feature that is, which is the Opkey Gen AI assistance that's there that would go ahead and seamlessly work. It generates test cases and test data for not only the as is, but also your custom scenarios. By mining your business configurations, so your test cases with test data are ready by just giving commands to the AI. It also generates manual test cases, so no need for tedious task of creating spreadsheets for manual test cases, and doesn't require any more during your UAT process with Opkey. Now, I do have a couple of demos here to help you deep dive as and give you a glimpse of how it actually works in Opkey. So to begin with, let's look at our test management feature. Once you log in and go to the dashboard, you can customize this. You can add widgets as per your visibility requirements. We have releases with overall readiness in terms of start, planned end date, along with pending defects, requirements, or user stories, test failures, if any, giving you a quick peek of your release timelines in actual versus planned. It gives you a comprehensive dynamic reports that can be easily created with help of widgets and that can be pinned to dashboard, so you can track each artifact as you need. Now you can apply filters available for effective every artifact and customize these reports using widgets as you go. Now this is the demo on our mining capability. We call it the Opkey AI Test Discovery feature. You simply go ahead and mine your given ERP instance. All you need to do is create a snapshot by giving it name. You can select the ERP you want to mine from the option, give the URL, login credentials, choose the business process you want to say P2P here, fill other required details, select the timestamp through which you want to go ahead and mine the existing transactions or existing tests. Now it mines your ERP logs, configurations, and identifies missing test cases with use of our AI engine and builds all the required test cases autonomously without the need for coding. So this offering 99% test coverage and quick time to value. So when you expand a transaction, look at a test case, you get the steps performed with one click. This test case can be automated. And not just that, it gives you the test data basis your configurations that you can edit or change if required. Now, if you look at the suggested mine information that was fetched basis all the existing configurations of your ERP environment, you get a blueprint of all the links. Your test cases basis all of these configurations are generated as well along with the data basis your configs, hence helping you with generation of ideal test cases across business processes, autonomous self-configuration driven test cases that combines scenarios helping reduce risk of coverage and defect leakage. So the C data, the custom configurations that are there that are all available here. Now let's explore another fantastic use of AI, which is Opkey, Wilfred. We have chatbots that can go ahead and help you in various ways by just giving a simple command, and your test cases along with necessary data are good to go. Let's here take an example of payables. Your test case are generated and you can simply choose the one you need. So they're crafted using Opkey's extensive ERP library, and your custom scenarios mined from the Opkey test discovery, and few clicks and your test cases with input data are ready for execution. Maybe for AP invoice or the process that you choose, and give a thumbs up, and that's it. So that's one of the key features wherein you can mine, take care of the test coverage, what to test, what not to test, because you can now have full visibility into what is there, what should be tested. And with the pre-built libraries, you can go ahead and speed up your overall application testing. Also, you can download detailed reports. So it takes off the documentation requirement. You go back to the instance we analyzed and we get a playbook ready. You get multiple reports that has all the required information for documentation along with screenshots of test execution for the requirements. Also, few other features like a browser extension that helps you specifically when you're doing your exploratory testing. So the ease, if you use is simply amazing here. You don't need to switch to different applications to log a bug or raise a requirement. Do it from your the Opkey interface itself. Click the extension icon, take a screenshot for a bug or say UI issue, and raise it as a requirement right from this window. Your captured screenshot or video gets loaded up, and you can change priority, assignee, and other details here. So all you can enable the features, Docker, and the convenience is there. So all those required during UAT exploratory testing, creating tickets, user stories, or requirements easily with the extension. So these were quick few demos that I wanted to showcase today, and I'll be more than happy to take any questions that we might have.
All right, thank you. If you have any questions, please place them into the question area, the GoToWebinar control panel. All right, I'm placing it into the chat. How are you testing the custom integrations handled? How are the testing of the custom integrations handled?
Well, as with the mining capability, we not only mine the as is process, but also what is there that is customized. We have reusable components created, an extensive library of it that goes ahead and creates automated scripts for the customized scenarios as well. So mined and as is mining and coupled with our reusable component or test library is the answer to go ahead and handle custom scenarios too.
Okay, perfect. Next one is how does AI generates test cases for different ERPs?
Well, that's the beauty of Gen AI. So as I said, we have the benchmark or the out-of-box reusable components. It mines your transactions, your configurations, and creates a blueprint around it using the Gen AI. And then with that, it goes ahead and creates the test cases, maps all the reusable component in a flow in the as given in your business scenario or in a given scenario, and it creates those automated test cases for you along with the test data.
Okay, perfect. Next is how are the data sets? How do the data sets get created, as we may have different set of data per environment?
Correct. So it not only mines the configs as a set, it also the LOVs, the data, the list of values. Also you can have the auto data generation feature that goes ahead and we can set what parameters you want to go ahead and test it for. So it randomly generates the data for you that you usually go ahead and put in a lot of efforts to get the data.
Interact with any incident creation systems for defect tracking?
Oh yes, so you can go ahead and integrate with external tools or any CI/CD pipeline like Jira, Azure, Qtest. So you can integrate that and you can pass on the results to and fro. Even though we do have an inbuilt uh, quality lifecycle management to do all this for you, so that you, even if you don't want to go ahead and integrate with third party, you can use Opkey's QLM itself. However, as I said, it does provides integration with external tools.
All right. What would the initial cost and maintenance be of Opkey?
Well, for that, you need to just drop us an email or reach out to sales on our website, and they would be more than happy to look into the project scoping, what exactly is the requirement, and customize something for you.
Does a customer retain a copy of the testing library?
Absolutely, yes. You get the end-to-end test cases created for the modules you choose at the beginning. So let's say you went with human capital, finance, and maybe supply chain, and whatever modules or flows that you wanted to test, that's scoped within. Once you are a customer, during the project initiation, we discuss what all is to be tested, and we help you create that end-to-end library or end-to-end test cases with help of our pre-built libraries and mining coupled, and we execute and show it to you. Execute and share the results and enable you to go ahead and run it on your own. And then those test cases stays with you, because let's say tomorrow there's a change, there's a patch, there's a regression that you have to run. You just have to run these test cases and easily identify what to fix. So yeah, the answer is yes.
What would be the implementation timeline? Sorry about that.
Well, usually we onboard a customer in 2 to a maximum of 4 weeks. And again, this duration depends on the project that you have at hand, the modules, the overall scope of the testing. But 2 to 4 weeks, yeah.
Is it provided as a SaaS or PaaS service?
It's a SaaS, software as a service, a software as a service application you get subscription to.
All right. How are the quarterly releases tested?
So we, being Oracle partner, we go ahead and not only share advisory, what is there, we create a baseline. So we have another feature that I did not showcase it in the demo. However, let's say you have your end-to-end test cases or test suites ready. Whenever there's a quarterly patch, we go ahead and take a snapshot of pre-release for your security roles and for your uh, the business flows, I would say, the modules, and then post implementation we run the same test suites, or and then with the help of AI, it compares both the snapshots and readily tells you what needs to be fixed in the process area or in the configuration, or the object has changed. Uh, and with a with a click of a button, which we call it self heal, it fixes that broken test case as well. So your regression test suites are again ready. You run it, and in case there are a couple of test cases that require retrofitting, they're identified. So usually, when without these features, you go ahead and identify what is broken, what is not. So it certainly reduces the overall timeline of patch certification with Opkey to 2 to 3 days.
All right. Can you use this tool for SIT as well?
Oh
SIT?
yes, you can. So you can do integration testing. Opkey can be used for any technology. We're specifically focused on ERP. So you do your integration testings or uh, any other kind of testing you want to do.
Okay. What is needed for infra for using this application?
Well, nothing much. So it comes to software as a service. We go ahead and you get the license procured, and we go ahead and help you with all the setup required. Usually comes with the virtual machines that are required to go ahead and run your testing. So you don't need any specific infra at your end, unless you want to go ahead and do a on-premise setup. So that's again something that you can discuss during the initial implementation stage.
Right. Does it have any limitation hosted applications like Java Page, OAF, or Java Forms?
Well, I'll take that question and I'll have to get back to you on that. I'll not be very sure. However, no limitations that I know of, but you can always, you can reply over an email as well on this.
All right. Is this capable of generating and testing Oracle EPM applications?
Yes. So we are Oracle's certified partners, and all the business process modules, we have the mining capabilities and the pre-built test cases available.
All right. Is there a limit on custom test cases that can be created, or is that license based?
No, you can create as many test cases as you want. There's no limitation on the number of test cases you want to create. The license is usually based on the number of executions you want to play.
All right. I'm not seeing any other questions. That was quite a few. I'm going to thank Dan for presenting. So thank you so much. And this will conclude the webinar. Everyone have a great Friday.
Thank you so much, Mike, for hosting this, and thanks everyone for joining. Have a good one.